Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're doing something really exciting. We are decoding the distinct economic engines powering the world's absolute most valuable tech giants. We aren't just looking at what these companies make, we're actually reverse engineering how they make their money, and honestly, more importantly, how they protect it. We're going to break down the massive invisible structures that allow these specific titans to dominate the modern financial landscape.
Okay, let's take a quick look at our roadmap for today. We'll start with Section 1, the trillion-dollar titans, then Section 2, Apple's walled garden economy, Section 3, Tesla's vertical integration, Section 4, NVIDIA's AI toll booth, and finally, Section 5, the future economic battlefield.
All right, Section 1, the trillion-dollar titans, decoding the sheer scale of modern tech.
So that brings us right to this magic number 3. We are looking at exactly 3 distinct economic giants today. Now you might be wondering, why these 3? Well, it's because each one represents a completely unique approach to dominating the market. They aren't all just selling software, and they aren't all just selling hardware. No, they have built entirely different fortresses. Understanding these 3 specific strategies really gives you the ultimate playbook for how modern monopolies operate and scale in the 21st century.
Which naturally leads us to the literal trillion-dollar question, right? How do companies actually reach and sustain such astronomical valuations? Getting to the top is one thing, for sure, but staying there? That requires a structural advantage that competitors simply cannot cross. In economics, we call this a moat. And as we're about to see, the moats built by Apple, Tesla, and NVIDIA look radically different from one another.
Moving right along to Section 2, Apple's walled garden economy, the ecosystem and services transition.
So instead of getting bogged down in dry financial jargon, I want you to think of Apple's moat as a walled garden. It's beautifully manicured, it's incredibly convenient, but the gates, well, they only lock from the inside. By tightly integrating the hardware you physically hold in your hand with the exclusive software it runs, Apple creates extremely high switching costs. Just think about it for a second. If you want to leave the iPhone, you aren't just buying a different piece of glass and metal. You're giving up iMessage, you're losing your seamless connection to your Mac, and that effortless pairing of your AirPods. You are happily and securely locked in.
Now notice the massive, growing chunk dedicated to services here. Apple didn't just stop at selling you the hardware to get into the garden. They actually transitioned into a massive services giant. Because once you're inside the walls, they monetize your presence through the App Store, Apple Music, iCloud storage, Apple Pay, the whole shebang. This represents the absolute holy grail of economics, shifting from a one-time hardware sale to massive, predictable, recurring revenue from a fully captured audience.
All right, let's shift gears to Section 3, Tesla's vertical integration, manufacturing efficiency and energy.
Now, while Apple relies on a software and consumer hardware ecosystem, Tesla's economic superpower is grounded firmly in the physical world through complete vertical integration. You see, traditional automakers rely on thousands of third-party suppliers, but Tesla, they bring as much as possible in-house. We're talking from the raw materials in the batteries to the software on the dashboard, right down to the seats in the cabin. This allows for just relentless manufacturing efficiency. But here's the real kicker. They aren't just a car company. By expanding into the energy sector with solar panels and massive battery storage grids, Tesla's economic engine controls the entire life cycle, from the factory floor where the car is built all the way to the actual energy grid that powers it.
Up next, Section 4, NVIDIA's AI toll booth, B2B dominance and supply chain positioning.
So, NVIDIA achieved their incredible business-to-business dominance through a meticulous, step-by-step lock on the entire artificial intelligence supply chain. Step 1 wasn't just building a really great chip. Actually, it was their CUDA software platform, which developers used for years to write AI code exclusively for NVIDIA chips. That software moat locked in Step 2, absolute dominance in GPU hardware, because, well, the code literally won't run efficiently on anything else. And this ultimately secured Step 3, complete control over modern data center infrastructure. They didn't just build a product, they built the entire underlying foundation.
Honestly, the absolute best way to understand NVIDIA's crazy valuation is this one concept right here, building the AI toll booth. Rather than focusing just on standard capital expenditures, think of NVIDIA as having successfully built the single toll booth that every major tech company simply must pass through to participate in the artificial intelligence revolution. Whether you're building a new language model, a generative art tool, or autonomous driving software, you have to pay the toll to NVIDIA. It is literally one of the most powerful economic positions in modern history.
And that brings us to Section 5, the future economic battlefield, pitting the models against each other.
Taking full advantage of our widescreen format today, we can really step back and clearly compare these structural moats side by side to see how distinct these engines are. Apple relies on a deeply ingrained consumer ecosystem. Tesla leverages sheer manufacturing scale and physical supply chain mastery. Meanwhile, NVIDIA dominates B2B infrastructure. They are all massive titans, but they are playing completely different economic games.
Just notice how each represents a completely distinct pillar of the modern economy. And because of these fundamental differences, they have drastically different gross margins and supply chain dependencies, right? Apple depends heavily on consumer spending power and brand loyalty. Tesla depends on commodity prices, factory output, and interest rates for car loads. NVIDIA depends on the massive capital expenditure budgets of other giant tech companies racing to build out AI. Their strengths are completely isolated in totally different sectors of the global market.
So, as we wrap up this explainer today, I'm going to leave you with this final, provocative thought to chew on. When the market inevitably shifts, which economic model is most immune to the next downturn? Is it the consumer locked inside Apple's beautiful walled garden? Is it the unmatched physical efficiency of Tesla's vertically integrated factories? Or is it the inescapable necessity of NVIDIA's AI toll booth? Think about which fortress you believe is truly the safest. Keep diving deep, keep questioning the structures around you, and hey, thank you so much for joining me on this explainer.